Once a physical destination you'd visit on a Friday afternoon, the bank has become a glowing digital portal on our phones. It's a necessity that gates how we buy groceries, pay rent, and ultimately survive in the modern world. But looking at this global population data, we see a massive disconnect. An estimated 1.3 billion people, roughly 16% of the world living with a disability, frequently find this digital vault locked to them. The financial system is caught in a security paradox. To prevent widespread fraud, institutions build incredibly rigid authentication walls. But those exact protections are inherently exclusionary, built on the assumption that every user interacts with a device in the exact same physical way. When a person cannot navigate these rigid systems, they lose their financial privacy. Managing their own money means handing over passwords and sensitive bank details to third-party caretakers, sacrificing the independence most of us take for granted. For centuries, the baseline for financial security and legal consent has demanded a specific, uniform physical action, the handwritten pen and ink signature. This reliance creates the signature problem. Standard banking contracts require consistent handwriting, but many physical and intellectual disabilities make it difficult to produce an identical signature on demand. Early digital banking systems attempted to modernize this process, but they really just swapped one physical burden for another. Inserting a plastic card and typing a PIN on an ATM still required precise fine motor control. Today, those early barriers have hardened into digital brick walls. Security features like visual-only CAPTCHAs, rapidly expiring SMS codes, and strict mouse-driven drop-down menus act as impenetrable obstacles for millions of users. These modern security mechanisms actively break the assistive technologies people rely on. When a bank's website uses unlabeled visual data, screen reading software cannot parse the information, rendering the entire page useless to a blind user. The irony is sharp. The exact mechanisms designed to protect a user's assets are actively discriminating against them, locking them out of their own accounts. Dismantling these digital brick walls requires replacing both the pen and the password entirely. That replacement is artificial intelligence. The solution starts with machine learning identification. Instead of asking a user to type a code, an AI system analyzes highly complex, unique biological patterns, mapping retinal structures, 3D facial topography, and distinct voice frequencies. We have collected biological data like ink fingerprints for over a century, but those were analog, static records. The AI pipeline is a dynamic system that interprets complex data and user intent in real time. When integrated with AI-driven voice assistants and automated text-to-speech tools, this technology bypasses the need for a physical mouse or visual CAPTCHA. A user can navigate their account and verify their identity just by speaking to the device. The technology adapts to the user's specific method of input, rather than forcing the user to conform to a rigid, pre-designed interface. By turning an individual's inherent, effortless biology into a verifiable digital signal, artificial intelligence allows the person's very existence to serve as the required proof of identity. But replacing a signature with a biometric scan introduces a legal hurdle. For a transaction to be valid, a bank must prove that a facial scan or voice print legally binds a user to a contract. The proof lies in cryptography. The AI passes biological data through a two-key asymmetric encryption algorithm, creating a tamper-proof digital marker. Under trust theory, agreements are valid if intent is objectively trustworthy. Stamping this encrypted marker onto a digital document provides that proof. Because this AI-encrypted data is securely authenticated and insulated from third-party sabotage, it provides mathematical proof of a user's conscious intent to enter an agreement. By securely bridging the gap between biological input and legal compliance, AI makes a biometric scan the exact legal equivalent of a physical wet ink signature. This technological shift is catching up to decades of civil rights legislation. Foundational mandates like the Americans with Disabilities Act demanded equal access to places of public accommodation long before banking moved onto our phones. Guidelines from the United Nations General Assembly echo these requirements on a global scale. Now, driven by AI, banks can implement what experts call accessibility by design directly into their core architecture. Rebuilding systems with these AI tools is an immediate business necessity. It protects financial institutions from discrimination lawsuits while allowing them to capture a vastly underserved consumer market. There is, however, a crucial caveat. AI only creates true inclusion if it operates with multiple modalities, giving users a seamless choice between voice, text, fingerprint, or facial recognition. If a bank mandates a facial scan-only login, it merely replaces an old physical barrier with a new digital one, immediately excluding users with facial differences or specific visual impairments. True accessibility by design relies on the flexibility of the technology. It gives users the freedom to choose the authentication pathway that perfectly matches their specific abilities. For generations, the architecture of finance was rigid. From the barred teller's counter to the standard website, humans were forced to physically conform to the infrastructure of the bank. Today, that dynamic is reversing. Artificial intelligence is forcing the tools of finance to adapt to the physical and cognitive diversity of humans. This shift restores absolute privacy, dignity, and independence to individuals who have historically been sidelined by rigid technology. By removing the friction of security, artificial intelligence ensures that the right to independently manage your own money is finally becoming universal.